Hi, scholars. Thank you so much for your support and for being here. Today, we're jumping right back in for a deep dive on, you guessed it, key characteristics of a strong literature review. Before we begin, you should know that I provide scholarly insights and strategic guidance on crafting strong literature reviews, enabling academics to effectively align their research within the latest scholarly articles and scholarly work, and also academic standards and methodologies. That is key. So, for the past 4.5 years, I spent my time working on my dissertation, and chapter 2, it took the longest for me. Okay, I spent 3 semesters working on this chapter. It was very brutal, a lot of late nights, a lot of tears, and a lot of blood, sweat as well. Okay, after these semesters completed, it all came together for me. And I think that's when I truly got to the heartbeat of my particular research topic, and everything just really got together and just start making a lot of sense. So grab your notebook or any notepad on your device to start taking notes. I do want you to start doing that while I'm teaching and coaching here. So number one, one of the first characteristics of a literature review is that it is comprehensive but purposeful and selective. What that means is that you're focusing on key scholarly sources, seminal studies, highly cited work. That is key. And then you're using recent peer review findings. So anything between 5 to 10 years, I recommend. Relevant and theoretical perspectives. That's how you integrate the literature in your research. You want to avoid being on a tangent. So tangential and being overly broad sources, you want to avoid that. Non-scholarly or outdated material, so those that you may find on Google search or any other search engine that don't have that peer review article check mark, avoid those. Also, overusing of textbooks. That can be key for some topics, as well as to provide that foundational basis for your topic, but don't overuse it, okay? Next, you want to focus on sources that do not, you also want to avoid, sources that do not directly support your argument or research aims. That is key, you all. Don't go down these rabbit holes and rabbit trails going after resources and references that don't necessarily align with your topic. That is important. Number 2, the second characteristics, critically analytical and not just descriptive. So what this means is that you have to go beyond the summary and evaluate the sources. So when you pull out your journal articles, it'll have this objective / summary in the front. You have to go beyond that and truly evaluate the source, meaning go down to their reference page and directly see how these sources are integrated in that particular article. Also, you want to ensure that you're assessing credibility and rigor and methodological quality with the author. So how you do this, you go to Google Scholar and you literally type in your title of that article or keyword search, and you see with that author how many times that article been used in other papers and how credible it is, right? And also the timeline of when that article was particularly used. You want to also identify strengths and weaknesses. You could easily do that while reading the article, just capturing notes and capturing all the big points and make sure that all the critical components of that article is outlined correctly and is used correctly, specifically when it comes to, for example, the reference page, right? Just if they cite a reference in the paper and then it's not in the reference page, maybe a red flag, but just dig deeper and do those critical analysis. You want to compare findings as well. Highlight contradictions. You will come across that. And also note the gaps. I call these, I would say intelligence gap, but you could frame your own word for it, but it's basically gaps in the research. And you may come across other articles that address certain gaps, or there may still be some loopholes in there, or it's not clearly answered. So capitalize on that. And you can also use my literature review tracker to really capture that. I have that all broken down on my Substack page, so do go check that out. Number 3, synthesis over summary. For instance, you want to ensure you're organizing your themes, right? In your topic, themes or patterns, instead of just listing each study individually. Yeah, avoid doing that. Do themes. Same thing with your theories. You want to ensure that those are aligned and they're integrated with your topic and your overall paper. Which brings me to the next point here. Integrate findings, multiple sources to reveal the trends and the relationship surrounding that particular thought or idea or area that you're focusing on. You want to ensure that there are multiple sources to show that dynamic, all-inclusive thought process and synthesis. So an example of this, across several studies, ... fill in the blank, right? Open parentheses, you have author Davis, 2019, semicolon, Johnson, 2022, semicolon, Smith, 2020, close parentheses. Again, those were listed alphabetically, and you see how you're integrating literature, you're integrating the reference here. Then you continue on with the sentence. But measurement approaches varied, leading to inconsistent outcomes. Close quote. Oh, so you open with the quote there and you close at the end. So again, you could find those resources on my Substack, and I plan to provide even my own literature review at some point on there. Number four, conceptually organize, right? This is one of the other key characteristics. What this means is that structure the review according to major themes or concepts, variables and constructs. I specifically use that factor there. My manuscript was organized in that manner. Also, you could use historical development, so from old to new. That is one approach. Also, competing models or theories. I also use that particular factor within our criteria, I should say, in my manuscript. And lastly, methodological approaches. So based on other articles that you're reading, you may come across, different methods that's being used, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, how will I apply this to my study? So those are some things to think about. And you want to choose, right? You want to choose the best approach that aligns with your research purpose. Again, your research purpose, your research topic, all the parts of your paper work together for good. and for one thing, to tell the story on your topic. So example, by variables and foundational theories. That is how I had organized mine according to the structure and how I presented my topic. So do a deep dive on your own and figure out what works for you, because what worked for me may not work necessarily for you. Number 5, aligned with research purpose and questions. Key. Okay. Each section should support the research problem, as I've mentioned before, your research questions, theoretical framework, okay, theoretical framework, and also rationalization of your methodological approach. That is also important. And you want to maintain clear alignment and logical flow that is linked to your dissertation objectives. Okay, I highly advise you to write those down. I know it's a lot to take in, but to wrap up here, I challenge you to take these following actions to ensure that you have a strong literature review. It works for me, the challenge I'm about to give you, and I know it will work for you too. Okay, number 1, you need an outline to lay out what exactly your paper will be about in your literature review, like by the T. So this is key to ensure that you stay on topic and on track. And this will help you to present your research in a clear and concise manner where your reader, while they're reading your paper, will have a clear understanding of what you're trying to say. It also allows you, to have flow and alignment in your study. That will be something that you experience throughout this journey. Flow and alignment. If there's not clear flow and connection between the chapters and between your sentences and paragraphs and all the different components, you will run into some issues and you may have to retake this particular modular course that focuses on the dissertation part, specifically chapter 2. Number 2 challenge for you. Use the APA style writing guide to cite all your sources. All your research must be properly cited, or else you will run into issues. Okay, hear me clearly. You will have struggles. So make sure that you have a hard copy of the APA 7 manual. Matter of fact, keep it on your nightstand. That's what I did to keep me alive and for me to keep, pulse on it. And also your in-text citation must also be properly listed in alphabetical order, like I discussed earlier. It can't be Smith and then Johnson. Okay, it's Johnson, then Smith, alphabetically. Be quick to make corrections on those if you find errors within your in-text citation, because those will add up quickly. You'll bookmark it or add a little, review here or comment, and then you're moving on to the next chapter. You may miss something. So the moment you recognize errors like that within your in-text citations, just fix it. Also, these sources that you're using for your in-text citation, again, 5 to 10 years current. For the foundational basis of your paper, specifically in chapter 1, you may have some that run beyond that 10-year mark, but please run those by your chair, your advisor before you incorporate those, okay? Have a clear approval of those first. Don't just go ahead and do it. Please do that, because the moment you start going off rail and going off doing your own things, you will run into trouble. And again, this video overall is for educational purposes only and personal use as well. Okay, please take all guidance and all instructions from your chair and your committee member. They are there to help you, and they're so committed to your success, whether you believe that or not, but they truly do. Number 3, take good notes. on especially the gap in your research. As you go through all the facts and evidence on your topic, make note of these gaps. Some of these gaps may be answered in other articles, as I have mentioned. So ensure that, you're doing your due diligence by searching all the databases that are available on your all the available databases, because there's so many, and be able to search those keywords on your topic to make sure there's no loopholes or there's like outliers there, which there will be, but you want to lower that as much as you can. Also, think about how your study could fill those gaps and potentially advance research within your topic and also overall within your field of expertise. All right. So I challenge you. I am challenging you, and I'm going to hold your hand to this, that you at least try to apply these 3 things that I've discussed. And I'll be sharing, as I said earlier, my own literature review. I'll be adding that on my Substack page for your enjoyment, to make your life a little easier along this process. And this will have a breakdown, a full detailed breakdown on each portion of my manuscript, so that you can reference it as a guide to help you along your journey. This is why I really created this channel, because I wanted to give back. I know how painful it was for me to really understand and to work all the parts of my manuscript together and figuring this stuff out on my own and online as well. But this is why I created this community and platform, and I really want to give back. So I will be providing that. And be on the lookout for this resource. Like I said, please be on the lookout for that. And also my master task list. I haven't forgot. I will be wrapping that up soon and launching that as well on my page, so that you have access to it, because access gives you freedom and gives you more opportunity to dive even deeper into your study and to help you along the way. It really does. It opens the portal. Yeah. Access opens the portal and the floodgate for all new information and for creativity to take place. Okay. All right. So to wrap up here, pro tips that I want to share. Embrace writing as an iterative process. My cheer always knocked that one on me, so I'm telling you now. Draft, revise, rewrite, refine. It's like a constant cycle. Keep doing that. Stay focused on details, alignment, and thematic patterns as your review develops. It's a developing process. This don't happen overnight. All right, it does not. I appreciate you all so much for being here. If you want more content like this, please like, share, subscribe to my Substack page and YouTube channel at Anna Blueprint. I will be linking that below so you can access the link there. This again, final words here. The overall dissertation process can be so overwhelming. It can be so overwhelming. So take deep breaths. You are on the right track and you're making great progress. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering you on. I'm praying for you in my prayers at night. I hope to see you in the next video. Don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. And fight the good fight, as they would say. Until next time, bye for now.